If you've been playing Project Moon for a long time, you know who these guys are.
Who the fuck?
Now, you also know who these guys are. The real question is, which sinner will get which color fixer ID? Now, with that being said, I'm gonna rank them based on a couple of things, whether they should get the ID or not. If there's another sinner that should get it. Number 1, their story. And what I mean by story is, how well will they fit in each other's shoes if they were to go through the events of Library of Ruina. Number 2, their characterization throughout their IDs. So generally, it's how they generally behave. So, number 3. This one's kind of controversial, but appearance might have a lot to do with it. Number 4, theories / upscales they have received over the course of the story. Okay, with that being said, let's go to our first color fixer. Before we go to our favorite sinner candidates, we first have to look at Roland's story. And yes, although I played Library of Ruina, I am going to be reading his story off the wiki just for transparency purposes, just in case I get anything wrong. Alright, now that we got that out of the way, let's dive into his story. Alright, let's just get the important parts of the way. Roland, being a child with no family, was adopted at a young age by his grandma, who disappeared later on. He wanted to fight in the smoke war after becoming a fixer at a young age for a chance to move into the nest. Shortly after, he joined the Charles office where he met his then wife, you know who. They fought Blood Red Night, they grew closer together, but they were denied housing in the nest by K-Corp and I-Corp. Womp womp. Then one day, Roland was given a mission by his former colleague Oliver to go to District 25. However, when he was away, you already know what happened, and he became depressed. Becoming extremely mad, he went on a rampage. He killed basically anyone who he thought was the reason for the pianist. After going back to his grandma, he makes his way to the library where he LARPs to find information about the pianist. And that's where you get the events of Library of Ruina. With that being said, we can now talk about our sinners. Let's be honest, you know why he's here. Everyone's favorite Brit has the mantle to become the Black Silence. I'm not gonna fully explain his story, cause you already know it, hopefully. But what we can do is draw parallels between the two stories. The first parallel is so obvious if you played Kanto 6, and that is Heathcliff, after being from the backstreets, was formerly adopted by Mr. Earnshaw and was a part of the Wuthering Heights family. And just like Roland's grandma, who isn't Iori, Mr. Earnshaw sadly passed away when he was little, which is kind of similar to his grandma leaving. Although he left Wuthering Heights after overhearing Kathy saying she wanted to marry Linton, he joined the Backstreet Rabbits, or whatever it was called. Oh, the Dead Rabbits. My bad. While the Dead Rabbits is not an office, it is a syndicate, so there's something. That's as far as we can get from Heathcliff's personal story. So next, we're going to talk about his IDs. Although this isn't an ID, technically, Earl King Heathcliff is one of the biggest parallels to Roland's story, as he disguised himself as a member of the Dead Rabbits during Kanto 6, and played the role so good that nobody knew who he truly was, until he revealed himself. Just like when Roland acted as a washed-up grade 9 fixer during the events of Library of Ruina, which is quite the parallel. But the biggest similarity? Earl King's actions was influenced by his love for Kathy, so although Heathcliff doesn't really look like Roland, he has been shown wearing composive attire like in his full stop ID. As for Heathcliff's theories for now, as of this time, his special ability is apparently jumping through mirror worlds, which has almost nothing to do with Roland. Now that we have shown Heathcliff's parallels to Roland, let's see our next sinner. Although there aren't many story parallels for our ideal man and the sandwich guy, there are a couple of things that stand out. You can say that Roland leaving Charles' office is like Yi saying leaving the League of Nine, but I'd say that's kind of a stretch, but what I really like as a theme is when Roland loses Angelica. That could be when like Ideal Man loses his wings. Like that could be a cool, nice little parallel between the two. Now, let's talk about his IDs. We cannot count this one. This is cheating. He has often been shown wielding many different weapons and having a similar composure to Roland. But what really stands out is how his attacks look methodically compared to Roland's. In terms of appearance, he looks really similar to Roland, especially with the cheating ID, but we can't count that. A couple of other neat parallels is Yi-Sang is always depicted as carrying a book. And now, at the end of Library of Ruina specifically, Roland talks about wanting to write a book. So you can make a nice little parallel where Yi-Sang's reading all these books, he's collecting the pages in the library, and at the end he wants to write a book. That seems like a very good character arc for a Mirror World Ideal Man. An extremely funny parallel is during LCE checkup, Yi-Sang is crowned as the weakest sinner out of everyone, which is also funny because Roland was also labeled the weakest Sixer, grade 9. However, he wasn't actually that weak, he was just demoted for his actions, but I just find that really funny if the weakest sinner got one of the strongest IDs. As for theories, Ideal Man hasn't gotten a theory yet. He hasn't been upscaled like the other sinners, so we can't say much on that as for now. Now, comparing Heathcliff and Ideal Man is pretty easy. For story, I'd give it to Heathcliff. He just fits way too well with that story. However, for IDs, it's easily going to Yi-Sang. The parallels between Yi-Sang and Roland as like a character is just so blatantly clear, but not at the same time. With that argument with the books and the resolution through the events of Library of Ruina, it just makes so much sense. As for theories, Yi-Sang has a better chance of getting something more related to Roland's, because jumping through mirror worlds is a crazy theory, but it has like almost no relevance to Roland. This one is very close among the discussion of the Project Moon community. However, if I were to bet money on who would get the Black Silence ID, I'm betting on Ideal Man. But this is extremely subjective to change with the future. We are so far from getting something like this, it's like crazy, but still, as of now, he is more likely for me to get the ID. That's gonna cut off part 1 of our series. Sorry to cut it short, but the video is getting a little too long for my ability right now. In the other parts, I would cover more than one color fixer, but because the Black Silence is the de facto color fixer in like Project Moon, I feel like it was more important for me to fully explain my rationality behind my choices in this video. But if you did agree with me, please hit that like and subscribe. And thank you.